Today's video is going to address a few topics from this past weekend. By the way, not trying to come off toxic. I just want to address a few points. One point was brought up by a fellow content creator to Vanguard, essentially outlining that Bungie needs to ignore the sweat community for now. TV has great insight, guys, really. And the video does make a lot of valid points. He points to leadership in the sweat community being at an all-time low. And some of the contributing factors to that was the BSK collapse this past summer, the lack of moral and ethics at the top of that board, and essentially that has contributed to the sweat scene in Destiny 2 from growing or blossoming. Now, what is the sweat scene? Well, it's a bunch of individuals that get together, they hold scrims in private matches or scrimmages against one another with a certain set of rules, and occasionally they'll hold a tournament. I don't do any tourneys here in D2. I did a few in D1, but to be honest with you, other than it being fun, there was no major incentive to even train in those tourneys. Like the most money you got, the highest I saw was a $5,000 tournament. Okay, a $5,000 tournament. Some of you might say, wow, I think that's pretty good. Well, when you split it 4 ways or 3 ways and you go ahead and add up all the time it takes to train to hold scrims, there's a lot that goes into getting really good in the sweat scene, especially depending on the rule set. And I know some of the rule sets can be pretty stingy, okay? I get it. But considering it's not an official tournament held by Bungie, dude, whoever's coughing the money up for these tourneys has every right to choose the rules. That's my opinion on it. So yeah, $5,000 though, I think that's the highest, or at least the highest I've ever been in inside of Destiny. And I think any point beyond, I think, what, $10,000, Bungie actually has to apply for something, probably some tax related stuff that you have to do, some other documentation, legal matters before you can get a purse larger than that, which is why it stays as low as it does. Now, the reason why I don't say that's much money is because in reality, especially today, many games have way larger purses than that. We're talking 50,000, 100,000, all the way up to $1 million. You've seen the tournaments. But even myself, who doesn't even have a huge following on Twitch, got invited to a Twitch rival tournament this past summer and still had the opportunity to play in a $50,000 tournament in a game that I don't even main. Rainbow Six, dude. The difference between that tournament and the Destiny tournaments I've been a part of is you didn't just get paid for winning, you got paid for losing per round, by the way. And I'm not talking about little money here, guys. I'm talking about literally $1,000 a round. You can see where things add up. So when you have these type of incentives, why would anyone sit down and dedicate their time to Destiny 2's PvP? This is a reality that I want to bring up to my really good PvP players out there that think they have a future in esports, in the competitive scenes, folks that are really trying to just cash out on big tourneys. First time I put out this tweet yesterday that character, leadership, and ethics are not what's keeping the sweat community from growing. I will admit that at the end of the day, you definitely need to have those things, but that's not what's keeping the sweat community inside of Destiny 2 from growing. Lack of incentives are money that Bungie would put up. And even if Bungie didn't put up money, some level of promotion from Bungie. Hey, there's a tourney happening over here. Bungie retweets it. Destiny 2 retweets it. There's none of that. Now, I did mention right here, it's no one's fault, and it's not even Bungie's fault. It's just how Destiny 2 was designed. This game was just not meant for that scene. Too many variables, too many things in Destiny's core foundation that will never make this game a competitive game. Now, I've thought of ways that can make Destiny 2 unique. Ways in which something like Twitch rivals in Destiny could present an entertaining challenge for the masses to watch. I honestly think that Gambit was a pretty good stab on Bungie's end. They just didn't follow through with some of the restrictions. So many people liked Gambit at Guardian Con. Why? Because you had specific loadouts. Everyone had specific weapons they could use in Gambit, thus resulting, you guessed it, a more balanced competition. PvP inside of Destiny 2 has no restrictions. And they try to impose some of those restrictions inside of Destiny 2 Trials when it was Trials of the Nine. But even then, that in itself posed a lot of issues due to things being peer-to-peer. At the time, it was double primary system. A lot of folks decided that they rather just have fun rather than just have a competitive scene. The reason why I take issue with the ignoring of the sweat community is Bungie's always ignored the sweat community. No, they really have. You think anyone in the Sweat community going from D1 to D2 said turn things into a double primary system? You're out of your mind. You think anyone in the Sweat community asked for a 1 to 1.2 second time to kill value as a base average TTK going into D2? No! Bungie's Sandbox is exactly where Bungie put it. This is what Bungie wants. 600 round per minute auto rifles being meta is exactly what Bungie wanted. We will have seasonal shines, or maybe like semi-annually, where different archetypes will dip into the meta and dip back out. The same philosophy that Destiny 1 followed. And that philosophy solely falls on the Sandbox team at Bungie. And I'm not trying to throw Bungie's Sandbox team under the bus or anything. What I'm just trying to point out is that the Sandbox we're in, and the Sandbox we're going to, and the Sandbox we were previously in, and the Sandbox we're going to be in 2-3 years from now was not because of someone in the Sweat community vocalizing their opinion about something. I can promise you, we've only been asking for Mountaintop to be dealt with for at least a year now. I think the main reason why a topic like this gains traction is everyone wants to find a boogeyman. Everyone wants to find why it is their PvP experience might not be as good as they think it should be. Maybe it's cheaters. Maybe it's account recoveries. Maybe it's skill-based matchmaking or connection-based matchmaking. Or maybe it's just Sandbox. There's a number of reasons why you might not be getting the gaming experience that you want. My opinion, whenever I don't get the gaming experience I want, it's just the game. It's not some little small minority community out there that's on life support that's making my experience worse. So the main takeaway from this video, and something that I just want to reiterate here, is that number one, Destiny does not have a true competitive scene. It's got a fun scene, a scene in which you can go in there with whatever loadout and whatever weapon and beat the piss out of each other. If you want to try to hold competitions though, by all means, go right ahead. If you're fronting the money, dude, pick whatever rules you want, do whatever the hell you want to do, because you're paying for it, not me. Number two, if you are really, truly a god at FPS games, you just got magic dumps. What the hell are you playing this game for? Get the hell out of this game. Go play Rainbow, Valorant. Hell, kick it old school and go back to Halo. I don't care. Just don't choose Destiny 2 as the place you're going to invest hundreds of hours into, if not more, to become the best player in Destiny 2. Now, here's the thing. If you become the best player in Destiny 2, that's still something to be very proud of. This is not a game in which I would just go, oh, you're a really good player in Destiny 2? Great job, bro. Anyone could do that. No, not exactly. Go try to beat Panda. Say that while Frostbolt or ZK's dropping their nuts on you. Obviously, there is some skill involved with being good at a game, even like Destiny 2. All I'm saying is, from a financial perspective, if you're looking to really make money from tournaments, if you're really looking to play a game that is solely invested in making their PvP sandbox a balanced experience while maintaining the integrity of the competitive scene, Destiny 2 is not that game for you. As someone who has sat on the sidelines for years now, hoping it would be, I can tell you right now from firsthand experience, you're wasting your time. And second point, and I said it earlier in this video and I say it again, and it's probably gonna say this in the thumbnail. The sandbox we're in, the position we're in inside of Destiny 2, the integrity of the game, the state of trials, everything was made by Bungie and decided by Bungie. So we suddenly find ourselves in another hand cannon meta this coming up fall, or a pulse rifle meta. Don't go jab your thumb in the eyes of some community saying how they're the ones that shat all over your sandbox, which is such a stupid thing to get mad about. Bungie decides these things way in advance. This meta that we're about to be going into, decided way in advance. This isn't something they decided to do last minute. And this is definitely not something they decided to do after asking a bunch of content creators. And for my folks that get bent out of shape about a few bad apples, whether that's inside the speedrunning community, the PvE community, the PvP community, or what I like to just call life. Because guess what? That's just how life is, man. People will rag on you when you let them know that it affects you. They'll send you toxic hate mail just to be toxic. Cut your DMs off. Don't reply or reply, whatever. Dude, I grew up in really toxic games. RuneScape, okay? I'm just letting you know. You want to know a game that was toxic? Go play RuneScape back in 07, 08. You'll know toxicity when someone's keylogging your shit, taking everything you own. Oh, and stealing your bank info while they're at it. That's toxicity. An occasional bag here and there, an occasional message here and there. Don't know what kind of environment you are hoping for, but this is gaming. Obviously, I would want everyone to act like an adult, but they're not going to be. And you sitting around crossing your arms, demanding they act a certain way, will only make them troll you harder. Don't let some dude across the screen tilt you so much that it makes you want to quit gaming. That guy don't know you, and you don't know him or her or whoever. And for my elitists out there that sit there and, I don't know, I guess you flex stats. Maybe you flex who you know. Everyone tries to flex something. Everybody's trying to find a flex somewhere. The reality when it comes to people that are trying to flex in some aspect, whatever it may be, they're truly just compensating. And I don't like to hang around people who are always trying to compensate. Makes me uncomfortable. The long story short, don't hang around people that make you uncomfortable. Really fucking easy. That relationship makes you uncomfortable? Don't be in it. That person you game with and some of the conversation topics make you uncomfortable? Don't be in it. That community out there that makes you slightly uncomfortable, whether it's due to some of the toxic members involved, don't be in it. It's that simple. And you can apply that to everything in your life. That's it, guys. That's my thoughts. I'm gonna leave it at that. Let me know in the comments below if you have anything to say about this. If you're still not satisfied, I say we get the pitchforks out tonight. We'll start burning the sweaty community now. It's a small community. There's like 13 people in it, but them bastards will go down now. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching. And as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.